In a world where there's so much meaning attached to everything, I know when you're at a point where it looks like it is from one incident to another incident and so many bad things are happening, there's always this thought that will it ever get better? And how about a situation where what seems normal to every other person, there's a time frame that humans have attached to everything there's time to be born, there's time to get married. And what if you find yourself in that situation where you just can't meet that timing? What do? Give up or look for other means? Well, on this episode, we're going to be talking about how indeed what looks like pain can actually be a blessing depending on the choices that you make, and also how it may look like the time is over, but it is possible that that thing which belongs to you will always come to you. Don't go anywhere. I'm Susan Uzono and it is Heroes Walk. Welcome, I'm Susan Uzono. Welcome back from that break. Just as I told you, we have someone today with a story, a testimony, if you would like to call it that, and a tale of walking a path that very few would dare to walk on. Remember, that's what Heroes Walk is about. So, over now to who we have with me today on the program. So, we're happy to have you.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Please can we get to know you?
Yes, I am TG Okofasa Eriekwarike. Born 1960, about 61 years ago, to the family of Simeon Ineneji Eriekwarike in Delta State. I would have said I lived a checkered history, but for the hand of God that turned what would have been mourning to rejoicing. Thank you. I say so because before we talk about the marriage and what God did for us in that aspect of it, I will recall that if not for the hand of God, I will not be alive today. Talk about even where I am now. As a child, I was told. There was once I went out. I was born in the village. Alright. I escorted my mother to the bush, to cousins, farm, whatever. And coming back, a bridge, village bridge collapsed, and I dropped through the bridge almost into the water. It took that effort to bring me back. And then in the compound, I will recall one day, she came from the bush carrying a load of firewood. She wanted to throw it down, and I ran into it, and she threw it without knowing that I've come there to want to welcome her, and it fell on. It was right on me, and that was again another attempt of my life that was going. And I was revived and brought back to life. Then eventually, I was taken out of the village when I came to Warri, Delta State, to start living with my elder brother. Okay. So I grew up in Warri. Okay. I attended James Ford Grammar School, and then went on, got admission to the University of Calabar, to read theatre arts. Okay. By second year, something happened. Student union politics, myself and the president of the student union, who were suspended from school by second semester. So I reasoned to come back after 2 sessions. When we come back, my classmates will be in final year and I'll be resuming second year. So I looked at it. JAMB forms were out as of that point. So I reasoned, if I buy JAMB form all over and I gain admission to another university, I will also be back to the same second year where my current classmates will be in final year in this university, but that will be in another university. So I enter Rome. The president, where do we go? I have nowhere to go. Where do we go? He say, you know somebody in Jos, it's fine, it's relation. Let's go to Jos.
Yeah.
We enter Rome without money. We took vehicle from Calabar to Port Harcourt because we heard that there is train. In those days, train normally move.
Okay.
That train will be moving from Port Harcourt to Jos
Yes.
on at so day of the week. So we went to Port Harcourt, slept in the railway station, and then train really came. We bought ticket. It's my first time. I've never been to Jos before, in northern Nigeria. So I went with it to this strange land, and then bought jam for Field Theatre House, University of Jos as my first choice since we were in Jos, and then wrote the jam. Result came out. I passed and entered the rest of Jos to the Theatre House all over.
Okay.
That period was a period that for a normal child, teenager growing up, would have strayed away from God. Look, I lived in a room where almost everybody in that room were hemp or Indian hemp smokers. But I grew up not smoking, even ordinary cigarettes.
What do you think restrained you from going astray?
Yes, that there is the hand of God whose love for me contained me and contained me from straying away too far from Him. I would not have been able to explain it as of that time that, oh, there was something that God has for me in the future while He was protecting me. But you see, others around me, I gradually became the center point, and who people would rather ask questions to want to know what to do. And for even in a strange land that I came to, in no time, I was able to get myself to NTA Jos, where I got to know there's program there. There's a program called Youth Circle, and there's a producer called Taoko. I said, what do I do? I said, I wish I can do something. So I wrote a poem, and then I went to the producer and said, look, I can read this poem during your program, Youth Circle. He said, okay, come and read the poem. So I went there, and I read the poem. See, but then I performed the poem. Instead of just reading it, I performed it. And I was paid 5 naira. I was so happy.
It was big money.
5 naira. Then from there, other producers got to know me. I was yet to enter university.
Yes.
That was during the long vac, awaiting admission.
Yeah.
But within that period of just being seated at home, doing nothing,
Yeah.
I was looking for what to do. So that's what took me to NTA. So in the course of that, I got to meet other people, drama producers, and then they gave me part. I auditioned. I passed the auditioning, and then we paid 15 naira. And money had value then. I said to you, through this process, when admission came, I was admitted into the University of Jos. I literally paid my fees all throughout the university by artist fee, or that I was generating from Radio Plateau and NTA Jos.
That's
I was a presenter,
Okay.
scriptwriter. I was, that mind you see, I was already in second year in university, in another university before I came.
Yes.
So now when I was now starting with a group of people who are in the university for the first time, I was far more mature than them in courage and in everything.
Yes.
And I remember Professor Idachaba, he became a professor. He was the immediate past Director General of the National Broadcasting Commission, NBC. We were in same class together. When we met some years ago here, he was telling his colleagues, he said, this is the man who was showing us the road that time. So
Hey.
he will go to NTA, arrange the program, he will bring vehicle, come to the hostel, and carry all of us to go to do programs at the station as well. So,
Okay.
yeah, so I say that in all of that, it showed God's love for me.
Yes.
God's love for me.
Yes, I wanted to ask you, because talking about pathfinding,
Yes.
I like the word pathfinders because I believe that God just helps us. There's surely a benefit of taken the right path, just as you mentioned. Do you think that the fact that you chose not to go astray, or you were helped of God not to go astray, helped shaping every other thing that you did in your journey up to this point?
Certainly so.
Okay.
Because, you see, in the relationship between God and man, man has a responsibility. You have a role to play. Then God has his role to play. Generally, if you do not give yourself to a thing, God cannot use you for it. So there has to be a particular yearning in you that God sees, that really actually I've had a love for God. I've had a love for God. Look, in the churches that I've been through, I've been a Christian, I was born into a Christian family. Alright, so I grew up as a Christian, and I've been an active person in Christianity. As a youth in church that I was before now, at the point I was the national youth chairman of the church as a whole. I could rise to such a point, apart from being branch secretary, but at the point I was the national chairman of the youth fellowship of the church. So that love for God, I think, is what God used in holding me to Him. My middle name is Okofasa. That's my middle name, Okofasa. If I want to translate it, it means man is a developer. Man beautifies a place. Then I grew up to understand that it actually means channel of blessing. I said, channel of blessing. Because when I look back, I've come to say that there's a passion in me, which is a passion to help. If I see somebody who has a problem, it troubles me, it bothers me, without knowing what was the spiritual meaning of my name yet, but it will bother me. So my wife will come to see my wife. My wife knows that we could give away what we didn't have. We could give away.
You were helped of God to do that. It just came naturally.
What we didn't have, we could give away. I thought I begin to wonder whether we should regret why we do give this in a way when we didn't have. But we say God will provide. God will provide. Okay. So the love of God, my love for God, made God to also love me and has sustained me.
Okay. What is very striking is the story of when you were taking your wife home for us, and that is what we're going to be talking about immediately after the break. Welcome back. Before the break, we were talking with Mr. TJ Eregwarige. He was telling us the story of how destiny can be delayed but cannot be destroyed. A child that is marked for greatness will always find his path to that place. And so that is also to encourage someone out there. I don't know what you're going through, but maybe you're at a place where the stories you have to tell as of now is a tale of one thing happening to you and the other thing. I just want to encourage you with this particular edition that it's not yet over. Just keeping on, you will get to that place. Remember, he mentioned that he chose to do the right thing. Now, as a program, we want to educate you that it pays to choose the right thing. Don't just conform to everything people say is the norm. Always know that it is best to make the right choice. I tell you, that's the only way you can end up being a hero. Right now, we will be going deeper into the edition, into this program. And that is talking about waiting for 21 years. I tell you, it is something that I want to know about, and I know you want to also know about. So we've been joined right now by the wife, precious, beautiful woman, and the son himself, Calling himself a prophet, yes, why not? So let's go straight to the interview now and talk about this particular exciting story. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, so before we went for the break, you were telling us a lot about the things that you've gone through and the things you've been able to achieve because God, as you in your words, contained you. Yes. So before we go to the story that everybody's itching to hear, you mentioned something striking, and I believe that the people will also want to hear it about the power of God at work, especially concerning your union. And now this is necessary because a lot of people just feel that as long as you call God God, everything should go smoothly, but we are trying to also let them know that He will be there even in that storm. So please, can we get to know that story before we talk to Madam?
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much. All right. Staying in Lagos, the time came when I felt I was mature enough to get married.
Okay.
And I had to pray to God to guide me to get a wife. And I stated who and who, the kind of thing I want my wife to be. And eventually, I saw a sister in the church who fitted into what I had told God that I want to look out for. And upon seeing that, I approached her and approaching the family.
Yes.
And there was positive response up to the father and the parents. Of that particular year, the December of it, the church where we were, they were organizing a major event in Warri, Delta State, whereas we were staying in Lagos.
In Lagos, okay.
And then I was serving as secretary to the organizing committee in Lagos as well. So they hired a bus. I'm into video coverage.
Okay.
I'm also a broadcaster.
Okay.
Recently, before now, I own a company, T-Map Communications.
Okay.
I've also been a consultant for the National Broadcasting Commission over the past 10 years.
Oh, that's
NBC.
Okay.
In the switch over from analog to digital broadcasting.
That's right.
But as far back as past 30 years or so, I've been in broadcasting. So I had a camera of mine that, and the church requested that I should come with it to Warri. When we were leaving Lagos, I took the camera and recorded the processes of the traveling. And after which, getting to a point on the road, I put it back and sat down and slept off. The sister seated here by my side, whom I had identified by that time, we then said, look, let's go to Warri together for this event because my family stay in Warri. So that I can introduce her to the family and let the family know that I've seen somebody that I want to propose marriage to. Okay. So in that bus, we sat together and other people. It's a big bus hired by the church. So I understand after that while I was sleeping on the expressway at Oren, going from Lagos to Warri, that the driver ran into a truck carrying timber that was spoiled on the road and was not moving. Whether he dozed or whatever, but he ran into it. And in backing into it, his own side was free. The passenger side was what had the immediate impact with the timber that he carried. And the impact of it was such that it cut into the bus and was able to cut somebody's neck off that sat behind me. Meanwhile, I was in the very front seat. I understand, as I was told later, that I was sleeping, so I did not see any accident. I fell into a coma. So, but that other members of the church who were traveling in their own private cars, they came and ran into the accident and stopped to say, it's not the bus that they hired. What happened? So they are the ones who were now carrying people. Then I was told that somebody there said, that Bros TG was seated in the front seat here. That where is he? So they came back inside the bus, and that's when they saw me in a pool of blood inside the field. I was told that they then carried me to Ore General Hospital, where I received first aid. That my head here was broken. It was what gave me this mark. My shoulder pulled off. My right leg was, the bone here was broken. So from Ore Hospital, from the original hospital, this is a mark of that brigade. Okay. So I was then carried to University of Benin Teaching Hospital for them to stick the head that was broken.
Yes.
So there, that was in all of this, I have no knowledge of it because I was in a coma. Okay. So this is by what I was told.
Yes.
Alright. So they then said, while I was in the hospital bed at University of Benin Teaching Hospital, that my father was around, my brother, siblings were all around, and that my wife to be, my younger brother, told the family that Bros TG was coming with a girl he wants to marry, he wants to introduce, that the girl travels with him in the bus. Say now, we wouldn't know where she is. My family don't know her, but that my younger brother who was living with me in Lagos knows her. Okay. So they said, let's go to the church compound to look for her. So he went with them to the church compound to look for her. There they saw her seated, because she does not know my family too, so she don't know who to go to as well. So they saw her, from what I was told, under a tree. And then my younger brother Daniel said, there she is. So they took her to the family house, and from there brought her to Benin, to the hospital to come and see. I was then told that in that state of being in a coma, that when she came, that she called my name beside the bed. And that strangely, I, who had not moved or responded to anybody talking to me, they said I raised my hand in the direction of where that voice came from. That's why they said, this man has woken up from coma. That is how enemies wanted to attack this future marriage, but God averted it. Surprisingly, herself who sat next by me, all she had was just one single deep cut. Just deep, that is all. But me, head broken, shoulder off, leg broken. And you survived it. But I survived it, that is it. I survived it. That is it. So from then, after the beginning, I was taken to another specialist hospital, in Warri, and where I stayed for up to half a year, came out walking in crutches. She would come from Lagos and then spend 1 or 2 weeks at the hospital. We go back and so forth, and then after I was discharged, then while recuperating, I was offered a job to become a manager in a fish company in Warri. Okay. Whereas I was staying in Lagos before. Okay. And the person who offered me the job is also in the same church we were at that time. So that made me to relocate to Warri. And so by 1996, after all preliminaries, approvals from church and all procedures followed, we were finally wedded. 24th of February 1996.
Yes.
Yeah, 1996.
Okay.
Which is 25 years ago.
Yes.
Yes. 25 years ago.
Okay. Yes. So thank you very much. Before we go forward, let's hear from Madame. Let's get to meet you. Let's know a little bit about you.
Alright, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Actually, I'm a shy person, but at least I will talk.
Yes, you can talk. I'm your friend.
Okay,
yes.
I will enjoy everybody again.
Okay.
I was a little girl. Very happy.
Okay.
I'm the first child. My father is a kind of polygamous, but in all, I'm the first child.
Okay.
Yes, my mother had 2 of us from my father. Okay. Before my they got separated.
Yes.
Then my father married another wife.
Okay.
I had siblings from my mother's side,
Yes.
siblings from my father's side.
Yes.
I'm the first child.
Okay.
So, I grew up, went to Anambra State Polytechnic,
Okay.
Oloko.
All right.
Yes, I did my own in there. It was when I was rounding up my career. In fact, I just finished. I was about going for my IT
Yes.
when
Okay.
when he proposed to me.
Oh. That's a good one. All right.
So when we married and so on,
Yes.
I furthered my education. Went to Delta State University. Okay. Got my first degree.
Yes.
BSc Marketing.
Okay.
Yes.
And so far so good.
So far so good.
So far so good. What do you do now?
Okay, what I do right now is that when we had a company, we formed a company together.
Yes.
When we do this consultancy,
Okay.
marketing,
Yes,
and so on.
Yes. Okay. That's beautiful. Thank you. Just as I said, we are going deeper and deeper into this story. Now we'll start with, it's every woman's joy when you just get married, those expectations of, okay, maybe some months after you will become pregnant, and then the journey for you started. How was it like? Because most of the time we're in Africa, the pressure, we believe the pressure is more on the woman, and that's why we're starting with you. How was it when you, one year passed, second year, third year, how were you able to stay sane? We want to know.
Actually, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy because if they had told me earlier on that I'm going to wait for 22 years before having my first child, I wouldn't have believed it. But surprisingly, I waited. I waited. What I want to say is that it's good to be a child of God, to be born again. When you are serving God, you are, God is with you and you are with God. You don't tend to feel it. Though people have actually lost hope. I remember my father telling me that we should go and adopt a child and baby by that process and start giving birth. And all manner of suggestion came, but we were just looking unto God, serving God joyfully and believing God that one day God will do it. And so, really,
sorry to interject. Let me remind you of something that you can say. That yes, the issue of how long we waited was not just a biological malfunction; it was a spiritual attack.
Okay, how did you discover that?
Yes, and as we know, when anything has become a spiritual attack, or it is the spiritual that controls the physical. So when it becomes even evidently so that this is a spiritual matter, then you certainly will have to fall on only God to solve it, not any modern medicine.
Okay.
Let me remind her so that she will say that by about the second year of our marriage, the dream that she had with that woman said that.
Yes, I actually had a dream. Just, I think, the second month of my marriage to my husband.
Yes.
The woman appeared in my dream and said, "Oh, my dear body, we should have a child." So, and then we were not born again, we were just a church goer and so on. So I remember relating that dream to him. I said, "See the dream that I had with that thing." So we just, I think we just overlooked it, not knowing
what to do.
Yes. But really, so that marks the beginning of the tortuous journey of how to get a child in our marriage. But ignorantly, we played over that dream 1 year, 2 years. By the time we're entering the third year, we begin to wonder, why is pregnancy not coming? So we started to consult even modern medicine.
Okay.
Each time she will go to see a doctor, I will also go with her.
Yes.
Because some people will say, you also went? I said, yes. Because you never can tell if it was a medical thing,
yes,
which side the problem was coming from.
Yes.
So it's not a matter of saying it is your wife's problem. No. So both of us
yes,
will go to consult doctors. They will prescribe various
treatment, so we're undertaking treatment. When there is no solution, we decide to begin to listen to people who will tell us, go to so prayer place, go to some prayer place.
So we went through that.
So that indeed, we started running about, we'll travel, go to places, I tell you, made mistakes.
I know, right?
Made mistakes that if not for the mercy and grace of God,
Yes.
we will not be back to a relationship with God. Made mistakes in the kind of places and people that we consulted.
Okay.
There's one that we went to that gave us that gave us a bottle containing liquid and a huge cross that is bigger than the mouth of the bottle. It was later I looked at it and I said, how did it cross? It's so big, it occupies the entire bottle like this inside. How did it go through?
And it entered the bottle.
Yes. And it is a physical thing on its own, not that it is softish and it pushes. How did it? I'm mentioning that one of said, or when you say give an example, so
yes.
that tells you that at that stage of consultation and interaction, we are straight from God. For certainly, that is not a God-ordained source to consult, but which we did when people advise us, and out of desperation, have stayed 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. We are making from Delta State, we have traveled to Lagos, we traveled to Benin, went to so many places, until finally we relocated from Delta State to Warri, to Abuja, when economic issues and things brought us to Abuja.
Wow.
Why here in Abuja? A family that knows us said that there is a program called Healing and Deliverance Service in Tunamis. That Tunamis Church that hosts every Tuesday. As of then, we were not in Tunamis. So it's okay. Let's go. He said then that a lot of things happen, miracles by God, people believe in God, and no man has to. So we came at the former headquarters of the church in Abuja, at Area 1 in Abuja. We attended that deliverance service. The next Tuesday, we didn't wait for anybody to tell us before we rose from Kubwa where we were staying and came for the service as well. While attending the healing and deliverance service every Tuesday, but still in our former church, we had a yearning to go to Bible college. I have had yearning for long that I want to be a pastor. So we went to how to pick form to attend Bible college in that other church. That was why they said in that particular year, the coordinator of the Bible college and the general assistant general overseer in church, they had of the church, they had of the region, they had a misunderstanding, and the Bible college will not hold that year. That was about January. So while attending the healing and deliverance service every Tuesday at Dunamis, that's where we saw advert of Dunamis School of Ministry. So my wife said, I'm looking for Bible college to attend, and here is one also. So why don't we register? So we went, we inquired, we picked up the form and registered, and registered for part-time, so that we can come 3 times in a week, not having the resources to come daily. So we registered. While in the Dunamis School of Ministry, we made up our mind at that stage finally that let us join Dunamis fully. So we now left the church that we were attending. In the course of that period, we did our foundation class, attended our foundation class. For the Dunamis School of Ministry, they run 2 semesters. So after the first semester, there's a break. For that break, we used to do an industrial attachment. We requested that they should post us to the headquarters of the church
for us to do our IT. So we're posted to the headquarters. We now use that period of the IT to do our maturity class as well. So after that, we resumed and then did second semester. So by the time we were through with DUSOM, we had done our foundation class, done our maturity class, and also gotten DUSOM graduation certificate. So that got us planted firmly in Dunamis. Okay. Then one of those days, while in that Tuesday Land Deliverance program, I got a healing. And so when people were called to come out to share testimony, so I came out among other people, and then pastors interviewed us, the ministers interviewed us, waiting for our turn to be called. While I was standing there, I got another healing that made me to signal to the minister in charge that look, even as I'm standing here, so thing happened again. So that made them to call me to the altar immediately, where the senior pastor was present. So when I came up sharing the two testimonies, he looked at me, because in the course of the talk of sharing the testimony, I talked about the fact that we still believe in God of fruit of the womb. So he looked at me. He asked, how many years? That was now about, so at that time, they are 15 to 17 years in marriage without a child. He said, what are you doing? He said, I am my wife. We are operating telephone under umbrella. I have master's degree MBA. She has first degree. What we were doing was, we bought umbrella that we go to Mabushi, and then we'll be calling people for this. Intercellular. Yes, that is what we were using to survive. 20 naira, we'll be calling people that way.
Yes.
So he said that what we are going through is a witchcraft attack. Both attack on fruit of the womb and attack on Africans. So he took anointing oil and anointed us. We fed them. He said they should raise up again. He anointed again. We fed. He raised them. He raised us again. He anointed us a third time. And then prayed for us. Before that business. It was after that encounter, that physical encounter, that the road on the financial side opened.
Yes.
Businesses were now coming.
Okay.
Funds were now coming in. But we're still trusting God for the fruit of the womb.
I wanted to ask you a
Yes.
question. You said it's enough, the distraction. Everybody knows that when your hope is deferred, it's not easy. So you said it's so easy to derail. What brought you back? I know some people that are expecting something, and because that thing has not yet come, they are even fighting with God. Yes, some people are keeping malice with God. They don't want to hear anything that has to do with God. But you went on a journey. In fact, you could even tell that some things were not of God. How did you still believe in God and come back and enroll in the classes that you enrolled? What was that thing that just made you to know that this thing has to be God? That's number one. Then number two, medically, were you certified okay? Were you tested and it was said you were okay?
Let me take on the medical one quickly.
Yes.
On the medical side, I was tested and said, okay, we'll do with some little treatment to aid sperm count.
Yes, which is the
But,
usual.
yes, but they didn't really see that as a problem. But that was done. On the medical side, they diagnosed something about my wife, where at a point she would did some form of minor operation at Benin.
It is called SMG, something like that.
Okay.
You know, just to open up the womb.
Yes.
And according to them, they say one fallopian tube was blocked,
Okay.
so they needed to flush, and they did all of that.
That's a painful procedure.
Very painful.
Yes.
I actually went through a lot.
I know.
I went through a lot, and after all of that was done, still nothing. We were still waiting, on the, we joined Dunamis, like you rightly said.
Yes.
Father in the Lord, Dr. Pastor Paul in prayed for it, but on 2 occasions.
Yes.
In Ilya and Deliverance Center, on 2 occasions. I think the second occasion was when people called mommy, for mommy to hug me, and mommy hugged me, and so on. I fell under anointing, and so on. I knew that something happened.
But the interesting part is that it didn't happen instant. You still
We
Yeah,
still
you see, even between that encounter and when the child came back, there was still a time.
Yes.
I want to know how.
Just like when after God has appeared to Abraham, between when God appeared to Abraham and when the child came, it took another 25 years.
That is it.
Abraham was around 75.
So that's what we want to know. Yeah, break now. Keep going.
Yes, one break.
Yes.
Because we have, our father in the Lord and our mother in the Lord. We believe they prayed for us and God has answered us. So we waited, we felt, we were feeling happy.
Oh.
We're feeling happy that
God has done it.
God has done it. Yes, I remember what the book of Habakkuk said. He said, though the vision may tarry, he said, but wait for it. He said, write it down. Wait for it.
Yes.
It shall come. So we waited, we believe in God, we're just busy working for God. In our brand, then we're in our brand, they're gonna do with them, serving God. Because after we finish our Bible school, God led us that we should, stay in our branch, and we're doing well, serving God to the best of our ability.
We're appointed there as altar minister for myself and my wife. There too, we also became marriage committee. As altar ministers, I was the minister supervising prayer band, minister supervising the media department. My wife was in charge of children department, children joy. So we're just working for God. At that stage, without bothering again.
Without bothering
again. And the child has not come because we just believe that since senior pastor has prayed and anointed us, that God has heard that the child will come. So we put that aside and we're just working for God.
Just working for God.
Yes.
You didn't decide to take any other route again.
No. From that point on,
we just focus on God. Waiting till when we do it.
Part of our painful and interesting story is that within that period, say, we will buy things for baby to be free. Because we're thinking that pregnancy was not called. We buy suitcase. We buy all the normal things for maternity. When they still stay 2, 3, 4 years, they will become obsolete and outdated. We throw them away. We bought baby clothes. When another person gives birth, since our husband come, we don't use it to touch.
I wanted to ask my husband. How did you cope with your in-laws? I mean, we can't hide this thing.
That's all we can.
21, 22 is a long time. In fact, I have not met anybody that went that far. So how did you cope? How was it?
Oh, well, it's not pretty easy, but thank God I have a very good in-laws. My late brother-in-law was an amazing person. I love that man to death because he was such an amazing person. He never gives me trouble. Rather, he was so concerned, for us to do everything necessary to make sure that pregnancy is achieved. But unfortunately, he's not here to see the joy. He's late now. I think he died years back. Yes, it's very nice. Person. Then the rest, they are nice. Only one particular one, which I wouldn't want to say about because I don't want him to listen to this particular program and feel that somehow. Well, just the only one that was saying, I remember he telling my husband to go and remarry. That after remarrying, maybe that is when I will start giving back to children.
Not just to be remarried, but that I should go and impregnate someone. That I see Abraham in the Bible. After he slept with Adam and you see after that pregnancy with Ishmael, they said if I go to the next once I can just impregnate another girl, that is my wife will learn.
Is that the kind of advice to tell a Christian? And we are both Christians and in the same church that time. So I said no. That's a good advice.
Over to you now. Didn't you have concerns? We don't use the word fear. Didn't you have concerns that time is going on? Were there not times where you thought that, are you sure this meeting will be over? Are you sure what will now happen to my limit? Did those thoughts come? How did you cope with those thoughts?
I think that question you would be rather for me.
On both sides.
Yes. For her, she will answer because you see, it's woman that has time in more in terms of menopause.
Very true.
Now on my own side,
as a man, indeed as my wife said, actually, there was no interference from my family in my life and marriage. But whatever, except for that one encounter that one of my brothers did that people seem to have given me a gap maybe to what I like with myself and my marriage issues. So I didn't face pressure from there. My in-laws too, there wasn't too much pressure, some pressure but not too much. But I just had an inner conviction that I will have a child. Not just a child, but even children. As a matter of fact, when I said I was national chairman of the youth of church, there are times that I will go out to preach and counsel, and I talk about the relationship between, and I didn't have a child yet, but I talk about the relationship between parents and their children, the position where your first child sits at the dining table, where the next one sits, what does God say? I finish. People have to say, wait, that they thought this man does not have children. They will say, but how does he know these things that he's saying? So somehow, there was just something far away in my mind that tells me that I will have a child, or I will have children.
And with your wife?
Yeah, and with this my wife. So that there was never any thought about approaching anybody else, whether a second wife or separate or divorce. Such never came, because look, I married only one wife. I prayed to God to give me a wife before I married, and God answered. So if God answered, how come halfway I will be changing to go and take another one again? Is it God that will also now answer or go? No. So somehow there was just a confusion in me that a child is coming. Now this one became stronger after senior pastor prayed for us, anointed us on 2 occasions, as my wife said. Do you know that in my own branch of Dunamis, I didn't know that time that something happened. There was a time we sowed a seed to our branch pastor. It was later we got to know. The seed that we give to him, he went to use it to sow seed on our behalf for God to bless us with a child. We didn't even know. Hey, when we now heard it, I would say, oh sorry, something that we give to you. He said, no. He said, how can we give him something and he will take it? He said, let it be his own sacrifice on our behalf as well. Actually, many people were praying on our behalf.
Yeah, even in the midst of those that were mocking, because there will be people like that. You still have people that were praying on your behalf. So we should lean on those people that love us in spite of whatever we're going through. Yes. So I want to now fast forward to when you finally realized. How did you realize you were pregnant?
Okay. How did
you discover? Is it that you felt somehow and then went and did a test? How did you know you were pregnant?
In fact, the news was broke to me when I was in the hospital. My mother got pregnant. Wow.
Were you sick and then you had to go to the hospital, or what happened?
Because I wasn't sick.
Okay.
But I was just doing this regular checkup. And the doctor will use it there. Just told us that.
Doing treatment.
Doing treatment as well.
You know, I told you that both of us will always consult doctors.
Yes.
Okay. So then one day she was just told that you've taken any. Hey,
so
anyways,
how did you?
It was a miracle. It was great.
How did you feel? You know, okay, you were told first on both of you. It was exposed to the both of you at the same time.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So how did you feel? Let me go to you now. What came to your mind when you had it? How did you react?
Is that finally? Is that finally? My enemies have been disgraced.
Oh, that was the first thing that came to your mind. I know, right?
Because
I know. What came to your mind, madam?
What came to my mind?
Is that first thing I want to know?
God is faithful. Because I'm actually, I'm in my menopause then. I wasn't even menstruating again.
Oh,
Where God just did.
that is a double miracle.
Yes, I was at reached menopause. I've reached menopause, I think, let me say, 7 years down the line. When God did it. And so on. So,
I love children. I'm one person in my family who loves children. But I'm the one who married. And I have to have a child on time. I love children. You see, when you came here, so
yes,
I stress out to your child. She came easily. I carry children easily. All my brothers and sisters, once married, they will first year they will give birth. For me, who love children, I say, how come me that love children? I'm the one that I'm married. I stay 10 years, stay 15 years. So when the news was spoken,
yes,
my enemies are disgraced.
yes,
because you recall that he said that dream that we had that my wife had at the beginning.
Yes.
That we had evidence that this was not just a medical situation, that there was a spiritual attack, there was a witchcraft attack. Daddy, senior pastor, also confirmed that this is a witchcraft attack. That person who said, over her dead body, will we have a child? If we had a child, so she will have to die.
That is it.
In my wife's dream, she didn't know the face of the person.
Okay.
The person appeared in the face that she does not know. So we never ever got to know who is this woman.
Yes.
Whether it's from her side or from her side, we don't know. But she said over her dead body. God proved himself to be over her dead body and blessed us with a child. We had said, Lord, at the point, said, give us a God. We'll give him back to you to serve you. We'll give him back to you to serve you. So when the pregnancy came, and then we went, he said, boy, before the delivery from the scan, he said, Lord, we'll give him back to you. But the enemies were not at rest. Few weeks to EDD, the person came to say that in her own revelation that our child was swapped at delivery. That is a boy out of my but was swapped to a girl. So I took my daughter. We had to register at the Federal Medical Center because of the age that she had reached. We didn't want to get treated anyhow. And I want to say from experience that most government hospitals are well equipped. And they have enough person there.
That's right.
Because they are paid salary. Unlike one-man training who may not have enough resources to buy all the equipment. So we registered at Federal Medical Center and I told the doctor. So on the day of the delivery, since EDD was known ahead, before the date I entered admission, she had to put on the admission. So I was there when they took delivery. They called me, they raised the child and showed to me. Say, see your son. Say, it's a boy. Say, see your child. It's a son. I said, yes. I looked at him. Yeah, they said, okay, I should not go back and sit where I sat outside. Okay. So then until they were cleaned up and so on. So indeed, our vow to God that if you give us a boy, we'll give him back to you.
Yes.
God gave us a boy. And of all the several names, we called him Okiogene, which is God's time. We called him Ogene Mato, which that God is the biggest. Then we called him Samuel. He's the one seated here with us today. By next month, December 14, he will be 4 years old.
I can imagine the joy that day when you held your child. How was it? How did you feel, madam, when you saw your child?
When I saw my child,
Yes.
in fact, I was just crying.
Oh.
You have finally made me a mother. Every barrenness has been taken away.
Yes.
It's like the stone that the builder rejected and become a chief cornerstone.
Yes.
So I said, God, you have made me. I'm not a grandmother. I remember when I was going for antenatal.
Yes.
With my age and so on, I was looking old. With pregnancy.
Yes, you will change.
Okay. somebody will be looking at this woman. What is she still looking for?
See,
And so,
carry pregnancy at this age. They didn't know that it's a very contact. People who thought that this is my grandchild. People said that to me. Say this is your grandchild, you carry it through well. You love your grandchild. I said, no, grandchild. I said, it's my own child though. They said your child. And the other said, it's my first child though. Your first child? I said, yes. Then they begin to look at the board. In fact, it's a testimony, as I was telling my wife, that anywhere I go to, people don't ask me first before I say it. I always will say that look, God did a great thing for me. Yes. This is what I will say. God blessed my marriage with a child at 22 years of marriage.
That's it.
That my wife was already 50 years old before she gave birth to me. People will say,
I was just about to ask.
Yes, she was 50 years. Yes. Even when she's not there, the child is not there. I will say from. So when you called me to say you wanted to come and do this and that, I said to my wife, I said yes, it's a right thing to do. When the day that we did share testimony about after the baby dedication, of course, first of all, for the naming ceremony, we're to do it in our compound. But our branch pastor said no, that has to be done at the church in Dagana. So naming actually was done at the church. After everybody closed, everybody came back for the naming ceremony, and then the day we shared testimony at area 1, senior pastor and mommy, they carried him, prayed for us, gave him a mantle, and that mantle, which is this dress that is wearing, Baba was to give it to somebody who was believing God for fruit of the womb, and the person took in and then gave the dress back to us. At this moment, that dress is not with us now because somebody else has borrowed it again.
Yes.
Okay, so it's a mantle.
So this miracle is getting more miracles.
It's getting more miracles.
Okay.
And that's why I don't cease talking about
Yes.
it. Today we have the boy here.
Yes.
Samuel.
Yes.
We call it Pastor Samuel, but because he said Prophet Samuel.
Samuel, how are you? You're fine. Look at the smile on his face. Well, you've had it all. We've been talking to Mr. and Mrs. Erewarigi, and it has been very, very captivating, inciting, thought-provoking, and above all, something that we are celebrating because God came through. Now I want you to learn something from this particular edition of the program, and that is the fact that no matter what you're going through, surely there is an end if you can only wait and be patient. It will come to pass. I know we're at a time where people say when you wait you may not end up with it, but even if you rush and it's not yet time, it may not happen. So what do you stand to lose if you follow the right path, which is always knowing that you cannot make it happen, only God can make it happen, and there's something called the right time. Well, once again, it is Heroes Walking. I'm Susan Uzono. Don't forget, we love to work with you. We love to keep you updated of our various programs, and the only way we can do that is when you subscribe to this particular channel. And above all, just in case you want to sponsor the program, we are open. Call the number on your screen and we'll be glad to work with you. Well, till I come your way again, don't forget to watch other videos. It's actually about a lot of stories that will also strengthen you and make you know that you are a hero, and above all that God is also our hero because He's done everything for us. Okay, that is all we have for you. Thanks for watching.